Hi, everyone. This is me. I'm trying to get two cameras to work at once. So bear with me. I'm also trying out a new microphone. It definitely works better when I'm like this, but unfortunately, I can't do that and shuffle cards and all this other stuff. But I wanted to play around with this sort of strategy, just play with things with this new moon in Capricorn. I still feel quite heavy in the energy. So you might feel that from me, or you might have been feeling that way the past few days, whatever that is. We are all going through it. But I wanted to kind of look at the soulmate cycle, the twin flame connection, the divine connections, whatever you want to label it. Everybody has a unique experience. Everybody has an idea of whatever they want to call it. I like to just look at the energies and what's happening for the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and kind of just whatever needs to come through for us to lean into whatever it is we're meant to be doing at this time. So if this isn't something that resonates with you, just walk away. For those of you that are new here, I tend to burp sometimes, moving energy through, and nothing here is said in judgment. It's usually from my own personal experience of understanding. So no, I'm not judging anything. Everything here is to help you gain more self-awareness and become an authority in your life. So overall energy of the collective. I mean, if this does help you, please like, share, comment, and or subscribe. That will always be appreciated. And I'm not here to speak to what might be true for everybody else. I'm here to speak to what's true for me. So this is just where we get to lean in and yeah. I haven't decided if I'm going to open the comments or not. I'm just going to preface that because I feel like I'm still attracting people who feel the need to educate me on what they believe is true, or needing to educate me to make me believe what they believe is true. And I'm not really here for that. I'm here to kind of just speak whatever comes through as a conduit. And if it triggers you, you get to lean into that because that's for you. That's not for you to actually come to me as if I need to change. I don't know who that's for. That's not the people. I sometimes attract those people though. So we'll just own that a little bit. But if you're just here, because look at this. Self-love, baby. Self-love is one of the hardest energies to really allow ourselves to live into, because we are taught from such a small age that we have to improve and fix ourselves in order to grow and be better. That in that need to fix is a sense of criticism, as if we're not good enough as we are. And I really feel like we are shifting into a completely different capacity, into a completely different way of evolving, and into a different way of sorry, I'm like, I forget that there's a camera right here. And I feel like for me, self-love was part of it was for me saying, hey, don't come at me trying to educate me. That was me just creating this healthy boundary for myself and standing up in my expression. That was self-love for me. It's also self-love for me to say, you know what? I'm not judging you because I've been there. Taking those cringeworthy moments that we have and just saying, you know what? I'm going to love myself anyways, because I was innocent and I didn't know what I was doing. And just because I know more now doesn't mean I know what I really understood what I was doing back then. And it doesn't discredit the work that we've done on ourselves to know that we weren't always like this. That's the whole part of growth. So I feel collectively there's this evolution that's happening when we lean into self-love and letting love dissolve. Think about when you felt loved. Think about when you felt in love, or just the energy of love. It dissolves everything. It's very interesting. So I want to kind of pull some cards to see where the divine feminines are at and what's going on with this part of the collective, the divine feminine energies. I think there's a lot of perceptions about what divine feminine is and isn't. And again, I think it's that unique perspective. I think we as individuals get to feel and believe whatever we need to feel and believe for ourselves to further our own purpose, because everything we do serves everybody in some way. Anyway, I'm not going to get too much into that, but ooh, yeah, going back to school, baby. Going back to school. I think it's very interesting with this Page of Swords that it was paired with this one. Do you notice how her one eye is open? Because she's trying to balance. She's trying to have faith. She's trying to lean into just being. But there's some interference, right? The cat knocked the cupcake over. She has one eye open because she can't fully trust herself or the universe yet. Okay, so I feel like we're, as divine feminines, we're going to be looking and experiencing things from a different perspective, because how we've been doing it doesn't work. How we've been, sorry, there's a phone call. Somebody's calling. Is that a sign? Is that affirmation for what I'm saying? How we've been doing things isn't working for us. It doesn't feel good anymore. And there's this real difficulty in surrender. And I can say that honestly, I have a hard time surrendering. I do good for a while, but then deadlines show up or timing or whatever, and I'm like panicking and I don't want to do that anymore. So there's definitely a shift in us learning how to do things in a new way, but we may not have the information or the tools to quite do that yet. It's just maybe an acknowledgement that we want change, but we don't have the proper ingredients to make. It's like we're making the same meal over and over again, thinking that if we just tweak it here and tweak it there or tweak it something, that it's gonna change. But it's not really changing. It's kind of just band-aiding the fact that it still tastes the same, right? So, but we don't have the new ingredients to put into this recipe to really alchemize a change. So I feel like we're kind of in the space of, trying to trust, but not really trusting because we don't know quite how yet. Yeah. We've got the King of Swords. I feel with this new moon for the divine feminines, there's going to be a real, and what I like to call is like showing up in your peripheral, maybe belief systems, things you're really holding on tight to, because the King of Swords can be fair, but he's also very rule orienting. And there's no manual for where we're at. There's no rules for where we're at. It's just, it's like no man's land. So which way do we go? The GPS we've been following isn't actually taking us where we want to go. It's taking us in a circle. We've been here before. So I feel like this is so much about just surrendering, allowing yourself to breathe. I've got like a celestite crystal. It looks like this, but bigger. And I put it on my solar plexus, and I have a selenite heart, and I have a Lemurian crystal, and I just lay in my bed sometimes and I just breathe, because I have no control over a lot of the stuff that's happening. And my mind doesn't know how to get there because it hasn't been given new tools, new information. And it's not like, and here's the thing, right? So my mind instantly is like, oh, well, why am I not looking for it? Because sometimes we have to wait for it to come to us. That's that whole needing to make something happen. We're dissolving that big time. And that's a really hard thing to dissolve when it's been ingrained in us intergenerationally. Forcing things to happen doesn't work the same way as it used to. It just doesn't jive with the energies that we're in. I don't know. Okay. Let's take a look at the masculines and see where they're at, because their experience is very different than ours. It's very different than the divine feminines. And the more we can lean into that and the more we can honor that, the more we can just allow things to be. We have this thing as human beings in the way that our brain works, that however we see things, that must be how someone else sees things. But even in my own self-awareness and knowing an example that people are unconscious, I sometimes forget what it's like to be unconscious. And it's not to say the divine masculines are fully unconscious, but there's a gap in the bridge still. between their full awareness and their ability to integrate what they know. It's kind of just there, but it has no place in their life right now. So let's see what this, yeah. We know that they've got the inner magician energy. This kind of represents the masculine's higher self to me, generally. Like the masculine's higher self has got things on lockdown. They're doing exactly what they need to be doing. And they know, it's almost like, when you know you're worth more, but then you're kind of humbled by these belief systems that, like, you should be grateful for all you have and all of this other stuff. It just feels gross. I have like a face because it feels gross to me, because it's not actually having the desired effect of making people feel more open and grateful. It makes them feel shame and guilt. And they have to break out of that. And I got to tell you, I've been getting a lot of downloads about that. And it's going to take some kind of divine intervention to wake them up. Just like it did for you. I'm sure there were things and events that led you to your own awakening. For the masculines, it's the same thing. Okay, yeah. Right? There's still a lot hidden from them, from the people in their lives, from you as their divine feminine. There's a lot going on that it's interesting, because this was the other card to like the magician, right? And in between we've got the Seven of Swords, because I don't feel like this is a duplicitous nature, but it feels like it because it's not forthcoming. It's not duplicitous in the sense that somebody's trying to steal from them, or somebody's trying to like rob them of things, or there's bad things happening. There may be some corrupt behaviors or unconscious behaviors around them that may come to light, that's going to wake them up to what it is they're experiencing and what they're knowing. Because I do feel like there's a deep sense of not feeling the same, feeling like I'm in a relationship, but I don't actually feel love. But what is love? And, there's just a lot of ungroundedness in the expansion of their consciousness at this moment in time. But everything's happening. It's all happening behind them, like behind the scenes. It's funny because it looks like this thief was like, they had gone into the library and stolen all these books, and now they're sneaking out, but the library door is still open. So they are getting their downloads. It's just that it's all happening underneath in the subconscious, whatever that is. Yeah, look at that. Right? Look at that. The divine feminine is represented by the Empress in this deck for me. Yeah. Yeah. Well, look at that. Walking away. And this is kind of bookending, right? The need to perform, but walking away to something better. What's better? The Nine of Pentacles and the Fool, like really breaking free into being who they are, but they can't break themselves free. It's got to be something that happens. It's a catalytic event. And perhaps I feel like this, this new moon is going to help anchor that a little bit, being in an earth sign. And I'm not going to get too much into the astrology. There are so many people you can watch that will give you some of these energies that is tied to this new moon and all the aspects of astrology that are refining us in our physical form at this time. But energetically, I feel like there is so much more going on that you're not aware of. And it might be hard for you to fathom that your person is thinking about you, or you're on their mind, or you're in their hearts. But this for sure is saying that. At the same time, it's not for you to hold on to that. It's just for you to affirm what you know on the inside, even though it's not showing up on the outside. And then you just continue to pour that love into yourself and doing what you need to for you. This isn't about hanging on to a person or a possible future, unless those energies continue to help you grow and evolve and expand and love yourself, right? But if it makes you feel less than, step away, focus on yourself. The connection of the energy is never really going to go anywhere, because love doesn't just cease to exist. It gets kind of pushed out by our filter of reality and the experiences we have with that. Okay, so what are you guided to focus on, divine feminines? Sometimes I gotta lick my finger. It just is what it is. Lots of DNA, yeah. a peaceful presence, and a quiet mind. Okay. Really leaning into, because our mind wants to fix things for us, but it doesn't have all the information. So quiet the mind as best as you can. Sometimes meditation may not work. Sometimes going for a walk may not work. It'll be helpful, but it may not be the thing that's going to help fully. Sometimes doing something creative. Sometimes napping. I am pro napping because it takes us out of our mind and helps our body regulate. Okay. At this time, when you have because I feel like if you've tried everything and nothing's working, that's a good sign that it's time to just, step away and do something that allows you to feel peace. That's not always easy. Okay. And the masculines at this time, what are they being guided to do or focus on? Okay. We got a couple. Cleansing and attunement, right? We've got self-knowledge through empowerment. Do they feel empowered in their life? Is what they're doing making them feel good? Are they really attuned to their path and whatever they're meant to be doing? And then sensitivity and strength. We have some co-creation with source here, right? So tapping the forces within. And here's the deal. When their human aspects are not conscious enough to do this in a conscious way. They can't, it's not like they can be like, oh, I need to tap into myself. That's not how they function at this moment in time. But there will be things that happen that drive them in towards themselves where they can tap into that, okay? Because I just feel like we put a lot of expectations. We think that because we're at where we're at, that they should be behaving a certain way. And I think that's just old paradigm that continues to create separation. And a part of, especially if they're, I know that we've been taught, if they don't talk to us, that's abuse. That's not the case. I think that I'm not going to get into that because there's just so many people that are really, and I feel the pain in it. I feel the pain in them needing to create these boundaries to any kind of love, and not from a place of being like, oh, you should put up with abuse, but really determining what abuse actually is and because there's a difference between abuse and unconscious behavior that's unintentionally harmful, okay? Because if you go into a situation where you think this person who's just has their wounding or whatever, and you think they're intentionally harming you, that just amplifies the situation, and it probably amplifies the wounding in you. And I'm not saying you have to tolerate anyone's unconscious behavior, but needing them to be a certain way as if they need to be a certain way for you to feel good, that's yours. You have to deal with that, okay? I keep saying okay a lot, but it's just like to understand that we create this separation when we're judging someone else's behavior because we are having a hard time dealing with what we think it means. And it doesn't mean anything except that they're struggling with whatever they're struggling with. But you got to come back to self-love in order to figure that out. You got to come back to loving yourself enough to realize that even though you may have been told your whole life that you're the problem, you're not actually the problem. And you're just witnessing somebody else's issue, even if you're in a divine connection, okay? All right, so let's get a possible outcome. Like, I don't know what to expect from this. Because I think things, it's an intuitive number, but we have fear. So I feel the possible outcome of this is to recognize where our fears are creating a reactive behavior for us, right? Where is fear driving action, and is that really serving us? To come back to love, to come back to unity, to actually experience what it is we're chasing, because we're chasing the feeling of love. I mean, everybody does that on some level, okay? I don't care who you are. I don't care how awake you are or how not awake you are. Everybody chases love because love is powerful. And we've been taught that we have to earn it. We've been taught that we have to prove that we're worthy of this. And we fear that if we're not good enough, we won't feel it. But in that fear, we're actually putting up a boundary to it or pushing it away. I don't know, guys. I think it's going to be a very interesting time. So find a way to come back to peace. If you have to nap in the middle of the day, do that. If you can nap in the middle of the day, do that. Go for a walk. Come back to the present moment. If you're starting to worry, you've gone too far into a space where you don't have the information that your mind can provide you with peace, right? The mind can only provide you with peace when it has enough information. So I hope that this has helped, and I'm sending you lots of love. And if this has helped you in any way, please like, share, or subscribe.